It is gone. The sun is gone. The sky is black. The air is silent. And you have no idea it happened yet. Right now, somewhere on Earth, a child is playing outside. A farmer is watching his crops grow. A couple is watching a sunset. And none of them know that the thing making all of that possible has already vanished. Before I tell you what happens next, and trust me, the final reveal will change how you see everything, I want to ask you something. Where in the world are you watching this right now? Drop it in the comments. I genuinely want to know. Because no matter where you are, the star that keeps you alive is shining on you right now. And this video is about what would happen if it simply stopped. Let's start from the beginning. Right now, the sun sits about 150 million kilometers away from us. Every single second, it releases an almost incomprehensible amount of energy. That energy travels through empty space at the speed of light. And after a journey of roughly 8 minutes, it arrives here, on your skin, in your eyes, in the leaves of every plant on this planet. The sun does two things for us that we almost never think about. First, it gives us light and heat. Without it, temperatures would collapse. Photosynthesis would stop. Every food chain on Earth would begin to break down almost immediately. But the second thing the sun does is something most people forget entirely. It holds us. Right now, Earth is moving through space at over 100,000 kilometers per hour. And the reason we don't fly off into the void is because the sun's gravity is constantly pulling us toward it. We're not sitting still. We're falling. We're always falling toward the sun, but we're also moving sideways so fast that we keep missing it. That is what an orbit is. A perfect, endless fall. And that balance, that delicate, precise balance, depends entirely on the sun existing. So, what happens when it doesn't? Here is where things get strange. If the sun vanished right now, not exploded, not faded, just instantly ceased to exist, the first thing that would happen is absolutely nothing, at least from where you are standing. Because light takes 8 minutes to reach Earth, the last light the sun ever produced would still be traveling toward us. For 8 full minutes, the sky would look completely normal. The sun would appear to shine just as it always has. You would feel its warmth. You would see its glow. You have no idea. And then, 8 minutes later, it would vanish. Not slowly, not with a warning. In an instant, the sun would disappear from the sky. Every part of Earth facing the sun would be plunged into darkness. Suddenly, in the middle of the day, stars would appear where there was only blue sky a moment before. And at that exact same moment, the gravity would be gone too. This is the part most people miss. Gravity, like light, travels at the speed of light. So the moment the sun vanished, its gravitational pull would also vanish 8 minutes later. Earth would no longer be pulled toward anything. That perfect, endless fall we talked about, it would stop. And instead of continuing to orbit, Earth would simply move forward in a straight line at over 100,000 kilometers per hour into the dark. No sudden jolt, no explosion. You would not feel it, but Earth would now be drifting away from the solar system forever. In the days that followed, the cold would begin. The atmosphere holds heat, so the change would not be instant, but within hours, surface temperatures would begin to fall. Within a week, most of the planet would be below freezing. Within a year, average temperatures could reach -50 or -60 degrees Celsius. Within a few thousand years, the surface could drop to nearly -100. The oceans would begin to freeze from the top down, first a thin film of ice, then thicker, then entire seas locked under frozen ceilings. Plants would die quickly. Without sunlight to drive photosynthesis, they would stop producing food. Animals that depend on plants would follow, then the animals that depend on those animals. The surface of Earth would become quiet, then silent. The atmosphere itself would begin to change. At low enough temperatures, certain gases would start to freeze and fall out of the air. The sky, already dark, would become thinner. Oxygen and nitrogen would remain for a long time, but the planet would feel nothing like home. Now here is what I promised you at the beginning, the thing that changes everything. Life would not end completely. Deep beneath the surface of the ocean, far from any sunlight, there are places called hydrothermal vents, cracks in the ocean floor where heat from inside the Earth escapes as superheated water. And around those vents, entire ecosystems already exist with no sunlight at all. Bacteria, tube worms, shrimp, crabs, creatures that never needed the sun to begin with. They survive on chemical energy from the Earth itself. With the surface frozen over, those deep oceans would be sealed and insulated. The deeper water would retain heat for potentially thousands of years, and those ecosystems around the vents could continue, quietly, in the dark, completely unaware that the star that once lit the sky above them was gone. Earth's core is still hot. It will remain hot for billions of years. That internal heat, that geothermal energy, would become the only warmth left on the planet. So here is the truth. If the sun disappeared, life on Earth would not end in a flash. It would not end in a day. It would contract. It would retreat. It would pull back from the surface and hide in the deep. And some of it, some tiny, stubborn, ancient form of life, might survive for millions of years, drifting through interstellar space on a frozen world completely alone. That is what this thought experiment really tells us. Not just that we depend on the sun, but that life at its core is almost impossibly difficult to fully extinguish. It finds a way into the cracks, into the dark, into the cold. It holds on. The sun is not going anywhere. It has another 5 billion years of fuel left, but the next time you step outside and feel that warmth on your face, remember what it actually is. It is the force that holds your planet in orbit, the engine that drives every living thing around you. A star burning 150 million kilometers away, and somehow, inexplicably, perfectly positioned to make your existence possible. That is not something to take for granted, not even for a single morning.